Okay, now let's talk about the appropriate times related to when to run, when to hide, when to fight, and how to avoid freezing in the most critical times. So let's say you're at the front desk of a hotel, or you think about a hotel desk clerk, right? And somebody walks through the front door with a rifle, and it looks like they're going to shoot people. What is the first reaction that normally that desk clerk's going to have, right? First reaction is we are going to either duck under the desk or head into the back. A lot of times we're going to duck under the desk. Now let me ask you, right here, this right here, is that protection from a bullet? Anybody? It is not. Most likely the bullet is going to go right through this desk, and you're going to get hit if you are under it. Staying in the same place and cowering because we don't have a plan is going to get us most likely killed. When to run, when to hide, when to fight, and to avoid freezing. The short version is cowering and running under a desk or ducking behind some kind of partition is akin to freezing. It's not enough, and it does not increase our chances of survival. So the first reaction is probably that we need to run. That's our first reaction. We need to run. Okay, run where? Are we going to leap over the desk and take off somewhere else? Are we going to run into the back? Are we going to run into the back and find some secondary door? What is it exactly that we're going to do? Run. Most likely run is most appropriate for that desk clerk. Okay? Hide. Hide where? Hiding right behind the partition of the front desk, that's not what we want to do. Right? That's not where we want to hide. Hiding is appropriate when we have no other option whatsoever, and fighting isn't a good option. Most of the time that's not going to be the case. Hiding is generally appropriate when we get behind some area of security. Hiding is during a lockdown drill when we get behind a locked door that a shooter is potentially going to have a difficult time getting beyond. That's when it's appropriate to hide. We don't hide before that. And hiding indicates hiding behind the locked door. It doesn't indicate hiding under the desk beyond the locked door. There is a big difference between those two things. So, maybe running is the most appropriate move. Run to somewhere, okay? Hiding. Are we going to get behind a locked door? What are we going to do then, right? And once we get behind that locked door, then the option to fight is the next option if the shooter breaches that particular door, and we need to be ready before that happens. Now I'm going to introduce one other element that you probably haven't thought of. What about communication? If I'm that front desk clerk in a hotel, how am I going to communicate to everybody else that there's a shooter so they can take appropriate action and don't end up becoming surprised? There are many layers that need to be thought about ahead of time, and if we do not think about them and we do not have a plan, most likely we're not going to be able to enact the processes that are going to keep us safe. In order to communicate, think about the things I've got to think about. Let's say I have a restaurant and a hotel. How am I going to get word to that restaurant if there's a shooter coming? Do I have a radio on me? Do I have a button behind the front desk in the hotel? If I just ran behind a door and there's no button behind that door, I can't use the button for the alarm, right? What about the radio? Is it on me or is it sitting in some charger? If it's sitting in a charger, I just left my radio, right? Am I going to use a cell phone? Okay, if I'm going to use a cell phone, how am I going to get the time to make a phone call? You see all the different things that we need to think about. All of this needs to go into our planning on how we're going to handle these issues. There are remedies, but they need to be handled well ahead of time of the actual incident.